strongest possible case to get the best results for the American people.
Now, will the special counsel's words finally tip the scales on impeachment? Our political panel on deck up next to debate.
If we had had confidence that the president clearly did not commit a crime, we would have said so. We did not, however, make a determination as to whether the president did commit a crime.
That statement right there gets me. Well, Robert Mueller closing the book on the Russia investigation, sort of, or not, the Democrats still latching on, claiming that the president obstructed justice. So does this just give the left more fuel for impeachment? Here to debate is Ned Ryan, former presidential writer for George W. Bush, and Democratic strategist D. Dawkins Hagler. Thank you both for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Good to be with you, Heather.
Thank you. Good morning.
So, Ned, let's just start with you and your response to that particular statement that Mueller made.
Well, I saw a political hack yesterday trying to convince us that an uncharged person was not innocent. Again, it turns everything on its head and now says people are guilty until they can prove themselves innocent, which is in defiance of our long tradition of the presumption of innocence. I mean, here's the fact, Heather. Mueller could have said two things. We had sufficient evidence to charge, but we had no authority to charge. He didn't say that. Or we found evidence that the president did, in fact, obstruct our investigation. He didn't say that either. And the fact of the matter is, his equivocation on his statements yesterday show me what I've known for a long time. This was a political hit job all along with two goals, one of two goals in mind, either to impeach the president or to undermine and damage him coming into the 2020 elections. So to the Democrats, I say this: go ahead, man up, try and impeach him and see what happens.
Yeah, and then there's the question, Dee, in terms of the timing for yesterday, why that happened, and is this Mueller's way of encouraging Democrats to go down this impeachment route? I want you to respond to that and to what Nancy Pelosi had to say. Here, listen.
We're legislating, we're investigating, and we are litigating. And we're going to, as we go down the path, make a decision based on the strongest possible case to get the best results for the American people.
Dee, is it best for the American people for Democrats to go down the impeachment road?
I think it's best for the American people to find out exactly what happened. I don't think that Bob Mueller is a hack. I think what Robert Mueller did was set it up for us to really understand what happened during his investigation. We saw that many people were indicted, several went to jail, and this is just an atrocity what is happening right now in this country. We are on a slippery slope. We are in a process of a constitutional crisis, and we have got to stop being so polarized down political lines, because had this been a Democrat, the Republicans would have been screaming bloody murder. We have to put the American people at the heart of all of this conversation. This is a very dangerous thing that's happening right now in this country. And to be honest with you, I'm very, very afraid of the way this country is going right now. And someone has to be the adult in the room and say, let's sit down and find out what exactly happened in this country.
Well, you would think,
what can we do to
you would think 2 years and $25.2 million later, we'd be able to have an answer on that. You know, the president, let Mueller complete his investigation. Here's what another statement from Republicans that Dan Crenshaw had to say. He said, my take on this Mueller press conference, nothing changed. Still no Russian collusion and no conclusion on obstruction, but the president's adversaries will continue to move the goalpost, push impeachment, ignoring the American people, what they really want. And, Ned, that is good governance.
Well, here's the fact of the matter, Heather. Everybody wants to say, again, Mueller, 2 years, 34 million, interviewed 500 witnesses, all of that. They keep on forgetting the House Intel, the Senate Intel, the Senate Judiciary. All of them had investigations. All of them interviewed witnesses. I have no idea how many total they did, but let's say maybe as many as Mueller. You have maybe 1,000 witnesses. No evidence on collusion, no conspiracy, and no evidence to bring any obstruction charges. At some point, people have to accept the fact that there's no there there. This was all based on a false premise of Russian collusion. There was no illegal behavior. Time to move on. But I'll tell you what, Heather, there's two reasons. It's because about 75% of the Democratic base wants impeachment. And I start to think, looking at election models, Democrats are thinking the only way they can beat Donald Trump in 2020 is to try and impeach him.
Dee, what do you think about that?
I think that is absolutely ludicrous. There are at least 11 instances in that report that talked about obstruction of justice. So I'm not sure what everybody's reading. Are we reading the same report? I mean, I'm not even sure what's happening here in this country. It's like the Democrats read one thing and interpret it. The Republicans read something else and interpret it. Who is the one who's really making these decisions and has the goodwill to say